give them funding to create these not even just to create them, to encourage these ideologies yet again.
Excuse me, a correction. Grave mistake happened because Taliban is anathema to Wahhabism. They are not Wahhabists. They are actually opposite to Wahhabists. They are being killed by Wahhabists there. Thank you.
Well, here's the thing. I'm saying any of the extremist groups, so Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or Daesh, depends on where you are. They have all been supported in one way or the other with the CIA, with Mossad, with even Saudi backing. Many of them have taken on the Wahhabism concept of these extreme actions. So many of the things, like for example, Saudi Arabia, people are like, oh well, women get to drive, or a woman got to vote. This is so great. These people are so backwards and they're so antiquated. Well, no, that's actually not how the real mainstream Islam is. Doesn't matter what sect of Islam you are. This is coming from a very extreme ideology. And unfortunately, because Saudi Arabia is not necessarily condemned, it's a very big ally of the United States. Obviously, you can see how they're behaving even right now with Palestine. It was never stopped. That, just portraying Islam in that way was never stopped, because that is not how Islam really is. So it is quite complicated, and it kind of goes into different areas. But I don't want to overwhelm you. So I hope that I've kind of helped you with a little bit of it. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to help with that.
Yeah, thanks for going through that. I guess just a follow-up question. How do you go about trying to actually educate? As I mentioned, it's the Israelites that have all the power and all of the leverage. So in terms of coming up with a peaceful resolution, the only way I see it happening is convincing the Israelites.
Is everyone silent, or did I just lose connection?
Damien is speaking. Can you hear him?
No, I can't hear him too.
I can hear him, but Damien, you might have to go back and come back up again.
Oh, no worries.
Wagner, you had some answers to those questions. You were raising your hand. You want to go ahead?
No, I was just going to say, I think it was Damien was asking, or mentioning, alluding or asking, is there possible, avenues to peace and that. I'm not sure if Damien was listening to me previously, but see, it's not disrespectful towards Damien, but he uses the term and he keeps using it, Israelites, and it confuses people a lot, because these people that, lead the political entity known as Israel are not true Israelites. They're liars, they're thieves. They've stolen the land. They've stolen the history of what Jacob / biblical Israel and his descendants were. So how can the truth make peace with lies and falsehoods? And now these fake Israelites, they are willing to do anything to rid that land of the indigenous peoples that have lived there for centuries and millennia. So how can you make peace against someone who wants to steal your house, who says that, the land was uninhabited, who makes claims saying that, the oldest Christian churches and, the oldest Islamic mosques had no right to be there, but the people who have lived there for millennia built those churches and those mosques. So, these people that came from, Eastern Europe or Khazaria over there in the Ukraine, right? They have now come and forcibly taken over land that was not theirs. Well, the ultimate question then I'd ask Damien is, and Damien asked this on other spaces, because I've been banned from a few, because when the flak is heaviest, it means you're over the target. Why were the people of Palestine and the Palestinian people punished for the supposed crime of the German neo-Nazis, and their satellite Nazi states throughout Europe? Palestine had nothing to do with the Holocaust. The Palestinian people had nothing to do with that. So if if those so-called, or I don't call them Jews, I just call them like an Ashkenazi tribe, if they lived in Poland, in the Baltic states, in various areas of Russia and the Ukraine, they weren't just living there for 10 or 20 or 50 years. They'd been living there for centuries, and nothing was wrong with them. The peoples of those nations treated them well, right? They lived in peace and harmony. The ones that were rebellious and who tried to overturn the government, and commit evil deeds, of course they were dealt with by the law and by military force, right, in the 13th, 14th, 15th century. But that happens everywhere because like they would try and teach us that these pogroms happened where all these innocent people. Well, that can survive once, like one story or two story. But if it happens 10, 15 or 20 times, then there must be something fundamentally wrong with what you're doing against your host nation who has allowed you to live, and build all your religious religious synagogues, and teach your religion. So, don't be fooled, Damien, when they keep saying Israelites. They have nothing to do with what biblical Israel of the Old Testament was. But of course, they are not going to admit that, because if they admit that, their whole false story, like the house of cards falls apart. So, we have to be very careful and keep reinforcing that point, because by making a claim and saying that they are somehow related to King David, King Solomon, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, etc., that is how they allow their lie to perpetuate, and it justifies their continued killing, occupation, and ethnic cleansing of Palestine. So, sorry guys, but I'll stop there.
Who wants to go next? Please raise your hands.
Wagner, if you can see quite clearly, most of the Ashkenazi Jews jumped the ship and came out of Soviet Union and Russia soon after the fall of Soviet Union. Soon after the fall of Soviet Union, because of the economical reasons. The economy of Russia was in bad shape, and they went to Israel. So it isn't. I'm just saying this because they are not driven by pure faith to Israel. They are driven by economy. Economical benefits are paramount for them. That's why the Ashkenazi Jews cannot be true Israelites. They are basically there to pillage and steal. That's it.
Yeah, well, Luca, one thing I would say, and one thing I've been told, and I've read different books about it, so I'm just putting it out there, and maybe, you guys who are from the Islamic world, would give more input and understand it. What I heard, what I read about these Ashkenazis they were pretty much just like a commerce tribe, like they were trading with various peoples, but they had no organized religion. But because they were caught between the Orthodox Christians of the Holy Rus that was north of Khazaria or today's southern Ukraine, and beneath them was like the Islamic powers of the time, or the vast areas where Islam was growing. So they didn't want to choose one or the other religion, because then they would have offended the other side. So then they claimed that their Judaism, or they chose Judaism as their religion so that they wouldn't offend either side. Have you heard anything about that or read? And what is your interpretation of that?
Yeah. They were basically followers of a religion which we call in our part of the world Yazichestvo. That is, Yazichestvo is that sort of paganism. So when push came to the show and they were asked to choose between Islam or Christianity, they chose Judaism because it was more befitting to their ideology, and they think that it is they would be comfortable with that. So that is the whole crux, and that is the basis of these Ashkenazi Jews.
Right, and now those people are the predominant percentage or makeup of the current population of the state of Israel, and these people are claiming to be related to Old Testament Hebrews when in fact they have zero connection with them. So we can basically summarize or make the logical conclusion that these people are fake Jews. Would that be a correct assumption, my friend?
True that. They're basically followers of Yazichestva. You know this term because this is a Slavic term. So we do.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
I also heard that they were pagan. That some of their pagan rituals were pretty horrific. That actually was frightening the Muslim, tribes and regions, as well as the Christian tribes and regions, and they almost were pressured that they have to stop these rituals. And many say that the Ashkenazi just hid whatever their religion was, that their pagan religion, and they kept much of that with them up until this day.
Yeah, but so see, for example, T-Lady, when you say that, earlier I raised the point, and this is why I constantly ask, different people who claim that they're Jewish, right? I always ask them, who and what is a Jew? And none of them can really give a definitive example of what it means to be Jewish. There's so many different interpretations according to them. So as soon as you name one of them or a group of them as being criminal, they go, oh no, they're not Jews, we're the real Jews. Those people are the real Jews. There's about 10 or 15 different types of Jews. So when you ask them who and what is a Jew, they're unable to give you an answer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're still looking for the 16th tribe, the lost tribe. I don't know anybody can come and claim to be the 16th lost tribe.
Okay, Mo, go ahead. Saad, just give me a minute. Let Mo finish, and then you can go, Saad. Go ahead, Mo.
Muhammad, go ahead.
Muhammad slept, I guess. Go ahead, Saad.
Okay, Wagner, Luco. So when it comes to Jews, right? As Muslims, we know that most Jews today are Zionist Jews. But we have to go back to history. 1947, European Jews came into Palestine, took the Holy Land, stole the land from the Palestinians, right? But the Zionist Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, goes back far, long time ago. It goes back to the Khazarian Empire. Look up Khazarian Empire. This history is hidden from mankind. Most people have no idea who were the Khazars, who was the Khazarian Empire. But Khazarian bloodline today, okay, they became Jews and they became Christians. Khazarian Empire, look it up. So today, the Khazarian Empire and the bloodline today is your Judeo-Christian Zionist alliance, which control the world. So they're in power now in Holy Land, oppressing the people, right? But mark my word, okay? Oppression on the believers in Gaza, in the West Bank, in the Holy Land, it's only going to reach to a certain level. I tell you now, what's happening in Gaza today, you guys, it's not by accident. As Muslims, as believers, we believe that everything happens by the degree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter what. It's a test for mankind. It's a test for the people of Gaza. People of Gaza today, you guys, have passed this test. It's a test for us now. See how we react to it, what we do. Allah has a plan for everything. In Gaza today, the Hamas soldiers or the fighters, the believers, the IDF will not be able to take them out at all. Hamas and the fighters, who's on their side, the whole world is watching and doing nothing at all. That tells you what? It takes divine intervention. The divine intervention for the believers to have victory. Now we know in Gaza today, you guys, the smell of musk is everywhere. The angels descend, take the souls to Allah, where the souls go to the green birds that fly around in Jannah.
Go ahead, lady.
I was going to go back to what Saad said. So yes, it is important to look up the Khazars or Ashkenazi Jews. Here's what's interesting is that if it was 3 years ago and you were doing some research on Ashkenazi, the Khazars, where they were from, There were a few videos and some articles that were very readily available with a simple Google search. Now, unfortunately, if you go back, and I was actually looking for one specific video that I had seen at the onset of COVID, and I cannot find it for the life of me. You cannot find them. And
DM me.
And the funny.
DM me, and I'll send you a video on history.
Okay, yeah. So, thank you. So, what has happened now in the past couple months? So I went just out of curiosity and for shits and giggles, I went on YouTube to look up Khazars and so on and so forth. And you'll see all these videos like from 1 month ago or 2 months ago, 6 months ago, where they have altered the true understanding and the true history of the Khazars and the Khazarian Jews and, becoming Ashkenazi and so on and so forth. So it is important to find an independent browser to go and search for these videos. And interestingly enough, even if you're lucky to find some videos on Rumble, you have to know the exact title, sometimes even the person who has done the documentary in order for it to come up on your search. So it is becoming very difficult because they're desperately trying to hide this. So just kind of a piece of advice is try to find an independent browser and just keep on doing your research as much as you can.
Yes, the Khazarian Empire, it's a hidden history. Because if people know and look up the knowledge on this, then they'll fully understand the world power today. The world is controlled by the Zionists, whether we like it or not. Right? You have a Christian Zionist and a Jewish Zionist. They're in power. But eventually they'll be destroyed. Because what's happening in Gaza today in the Holy Land, like I've visited many spaces. Debates go back and forth. But nobody realized what the outcome is going to be, what's going to happen, and why it's happening. Right? I tell the listeners and speakers, the only way for you to fully understand what is happening in Gaza, only the religion can teach you. You have the Quran, you have the Sunnah, and you have the Hadith. That by itself will help everybody understand what's happening in Gaza today and what's coming to the world later on.
Wallahumma khairul makirin. We believe in that is Allah is the best of all planners. Brother Boz is here. Boz.
Oh yeah, hello everyone. Salam, shalom, whatever you want to, what suits to you. Hello Espan, hello Sad. Salam brother, how you been, man? You been alright? How's everyone? Wagner, stay my cooks. Hello Mo, salam. Hello. How's everyone? Everyone doing alright?
Edina.
Fine, Boz. How have you been?
Not bad. I'm trying to be normal, brother. I'm trying to do my life. Keep with my life. Sometimes, it's, the seeing these things. Sometimes I think it's really hard, but that's the only way. If you wanna make something to be aware of, you need to keep, because you can't just stay and cry, because it will not change anything. But also, if you stay silent, it will also not change anything. So yeah, I'm trying to do what I can do. Even I've been censorship. Even I've been, especially last 3-4 days, they blocked me from writing the DMing for 12 hours, couple days in a row. Even I just reply to Ben Shapiro. I reply. I'm still waiting. Just for a message, I replied to his one of the 3 posts. I asked him. I'm still waiting for 40 beheaded babies to show me the pictures, and that's why they put me on a 12 hours block the X. I'm just telling you, it's not a fair war. It's the same as it's not fair war between Israelis and and the Palestinians. This is not fair war either, but what? That doesn't mean you should let literally genocide. So that doesn't mean you should give up. These people didn't give up 75 years. Why would I give up now? Or why would they give up now? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. We keep going. I'm trying to. I got my trying to get as many profiles. So in the case if something changed, so we can keep with the fighting. On the end of the day, they can't shut me down. They can't silence us. World start waking up. People start to see real face, and even I know Elon Musk. I'm glad that Elon Musk took overtook the X or space Twitter. I'm actually glad because Elon Musk even he is maybe neutral in this, but you have the Zionist puppets bots who works for X who is purposely doing this. So it's just so important. Especially when it comes to the more influence accounts, it's enough just to have 2-3 people who work for X. So to try to slow important accounts down. But anyway, it's too many of us. They literally can't. They can work all day. They can't do it. Not enough of them. How many of us? So the whole world is waking up, and I just want to say, I think sometimes I feel like when it comes to the Gaza, humanity died. But when I see all these people, I'm fucking. I start to telling myself, no, we just start waking up, and I'm fucking proud of all of you guys.
I got a question. Well, I think he left. Saad brought up something about the Khazars, or if I'm saying that correct. So what's interesting is I did a research on the Y chromosome that was shared between Arabs, Palestinian Arabs namely, and then Jewish folks. But, they took it from Ashkenazi, Sephardim, and all of, across the spectrum of Jewish populations. And what's interesting is obviously the Palestinian Arabs and the Sephardim shared the closest Y chromosome, linking to an ancestral, basically that they shared an ancestral, they come from the same ancestral descendant. But the European ones, the Ashkenazi, they don't really share that similar Y chromosome, and they even link them to the Khazars. And I think I found, I'm trying to find it. That's why I was staying silent. The research is so interesting. And it goes with what he said. So that's actually crazy, but I don't know if you could bring that up without facing so much backlash for it. Oh, there he is. Saad. Can someone bring him up?
You got to be careful what you say, because what you're saying there, you'll be labelled an anti-Semite, and that will destroy your career, my friend. So you have to. I'm just joking, but this is the world we live in. That if you speak the truth, you're going to get punished for it, and that's the position where we all find ourselves in, sadly. So,
which is BS, because
that's why we have the space so we can say whatever we want.
But what's crazy is that there is scientific research. Like I think I found it, and I'm gonna send it or try and post it up top. But I actually wrote a paper, and I actually got a good grade on this, and it literally points to exactly what he said. And that's so crazy. What mean haka? Who's that?
أنا دينس
Oh, okay.
أنا يلا سمي ده يلا.
Go ahead, Dana. Mo, you want to go ahead? Can you hear me?
Yeah, brother.
Go ahead, Mo.
How are you, fine? Fine.
Sure.
Good.
Why you didn't going with Benjamin today?
من اليهودي؟
Yeah.
شو بنا بالزهايوني؟ شو بنا بكيون؟
There's, I don't know why. I thought you going with his thing, or you like the space with him. Many days I saw you there.
No, you know why? لأنه أنا I go in there. You know why? You know when I go in there, I see these شو اسمه the Zionist talk just to hear them speak and what they're gonna say. لأنه talking to a Zionist, والله as if you're talking to a hype. والله بتحكي مع hype. You talk to a Zionist. So when I go in there, so I can laugh at what they're saying. That's why I go. I watch them debate. لأنه once they know that a Muslim is talking, wallah, they attack them right away.
Yeah. I feel 2 days ago it's become more unfair talking, and a lot of support for Zionists.
Like يا عمي, 7 out of the 10 speakers were Yehudi. They're all Zionists. Yeah, Yehud, man. How you things? Wallah, how you gonna talk when 7 of them are Yehud?
Mohammed.
I talk about this because there is idea when you're talking about what should we doing to help Gaza or Palestinian people. At first, we must choose where we talking and what is the healthy space we must be in there. That is the point I want to share with all of you. Because I saw a lot of people going to spaces. Some of spaces try to get more fans or followers, and some spaces try to put agenda for Zionists, and some spaces try to put agenda for another people. We need to be engaged in more free spaces to say, yeah, we accept another thought with all respect for our relation and our people. So I want to be sure in this, and we must accept another voices, and must accept another voices. We should not silence all voices for Zionists. We can accept who's become in the way of the peace to make a peace with him. I don't think we can destroy Israel or move all these people from them, but we must find a way.
Mohammed, let me answer you. So I genuinely do want the other side to talk. Now, why? Even though that every cell in my body despises the terrorist regime of Israel, okay? Every cell of my body, from my toes to my hair follicles, okay? From top to bottom, despises them. Yet, I want them to have a space with me so they can talk. Now, I know you guys don't understand. Some of you don't understand it and get frustrated. But believe me, the more they talk, the more they show who they are. And the more they show who they are in front of the people who don't know, it makes our case easier. If you want to expose somebody, Mohammed, you have to. The best way is when they expose themselves. If we keep pointing the finger and blaming them, they're going to come out with different arguments against us. But when they talk, they have no argument, and it's so easy. Any child can see, but you have to let them talk for a longer period of time because they're going to trip up. And then the more we learn or we hear what they're saying, the more we know what to counter with in a correct manner. Today, though, I got some messages where the Israelis started messaging me and in Hebrew and different languages. They're saying that, oh, you are one of us. And I sat down and I said, you know what? What the hell is going on? These guys want to turn who I am in front of the people that I want to help against me. So today I decided to just have a space where I don't, like you said, that I'm not involved with that. So that's why today I didn't go with anybody else.
Thank you, Humorist. You know, early
And
in the space.
I and I'm joined for you because I understand you start to take this point and go on. And I'm really don't care about if I am speak or just be a listener to make the space more growing, or if the space will help the Palestinian and try to solve really the, the the crisis what we are. And you are right. We must let them talking and keep talking, but we must defend in sometimes and try to say stop. That's wrong.
I think Dana saw what I did to some of them today, but I do request one thing, and I mean this from the genuine bottom of my heart, and anybody can believe what they want. I don't make money off this. I don't want money off this. I'll never even enjoy if I were to make money off the blood of anybody or the agonization of anybody. But the more, if we can grow this space, because unfortunately I've seen other places and they do have agendas. I'm understanding that now that I'm doing this for 3 weeks. I'm not. I'm honest to God. I just want to expose these son of a bitches. That's all I want to do, because I'm tired of it. As an Iranian, as a human, I'm tired of it, and I want to expose them for the evil demons that they are. So if you guys can help me grow it and it be a real one for all of us. It's not for me. I don't want my name. This is not my name. I'm not putting my real name out here. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not gonna put my picture. I don't want any of it. I just want to expose these son of bitches once and for all. And I don't want them to die, but I want their power over us to be dissipated, to be over and done with.
Humanities, if you keep on bringing me and Wagner to your civil spaces, Zionists won't dare to come here, because you see what happened to Hannah early in the morning?
Yeah, I saw that she ran
away. So if Wagner and me are here and Boz occasionally chips in, no Zionists will dare to come, and because if they come, and they are going to be smacked and squashed. So,
as Isfahan said, our intent is not to really.
I can come with good account. That's easy.
Yeah, they can come, and as Isfahan said, the more they're going to speak, the more we're going to let them speak, the more people will find out the stupidity in their thoughts and exactly what wrong they're doing. So I agree with Isfahan.
But
we had that Max Pax was shilling a lot. We took him on a few days back, and now he's missing from the space. So
he was on the space yesterday. Account yesterday, and put Anfa Moon, and we don't know is the Maimun. You saw that as far?
Yeah, Maimun. Yeah, those guys are.
He's from Romania.
Listen, you guys meet Dr. Abu Ubaida?
Yes, I've seen him at a Didi's space usually.
Yes, I usually go to Didi's space because me and Sami are good friends, huh? So I'm always on Didi's space listening. But Dr. Ubaida, well, if you guys listen to him, man, you guys will laugh your head off. This guy makes the whole group go crazy.
But I've been enjoying every moment.
I want to share you good movie to watch it. Yesterday I watched a good movie. I know it, but when I watch it again, I remember the facts about who say is the George Bush or Iraq War or what happened before that. All has this history. There is a lot of voices become in the United States and talking that was lies and all this about the business and the Zionists and Mossad. A lot of voices. There is a movie called Fair Game. Fair Game. It's I think it's 2000 American movie. He say English movie. United States from Hollywood.
About it.
Yeah, yeah. That's good movie, and he say a lot of truth information from United States. You won't use it as a history book for what happened in this period from 2000 and after this. So there is a lot of they know what they did, and a lot of them know the truth. But how we can change this? I think there is a difference between the young people in Israel and United States and old people. When we hear voices about there's no peace or we can't live together, I hear this from people who's really live with the war before and suffering before, and I don't want to be there is no Palestinians again because they enough that's enough. But the people young people try to think, try a way to live with us. I think that I feel this from a lot of spaces. The old people is so going to the good and what happened before and who say I going to war. I didn't think they come to war because the war was older than him. So I feel if we can try to going and talking with young people who is interested in United States or because I see the power of just in the power United States and Israel. In Europe, Europe just a follower for all this power. No, they they don't do anything active. Just follow. Where United States going, we will go. When United States will support, we will support. Ukraine, Israel. And actually, they destroyed their economy. Something like Germany going down. Something like France, I think it's the same. So if we talking about with those people and they try to say what is the fact, and as Fahan say, we must let them say what they keep it. I'm really shocked. A lot of hate against Arab as a all of Arab, Muslims as a all of Muslims, not just Bin Laden or Qaeda or ISIS. No, we was fight Qaeda in Sinai in Egypt, and a lot of our friends from army and police did from Qaeda. Why? Because they want to make Sinai state. Why? To make the big army and going to Palestine and make Palestine free. That is good, but that can be happened with the small militias. You see now when Israel starts the war, United States moving a lot of pieces against Middle East. That is not for sure. No, they doing that because Israel cannot be destroyed for the United States. If you destroy Israel, that means you destroyed the United States. If you're going to war with Israel, that means you're going to war with the United States because Israel is a state from United States, and they have all the power.
Mohammed, in Gaza today on the ground forces, the Delta Force team from the Americans are there on the ground helping the IDF soldiers on the ground.
Yeah, I hear about it, and I'm sure there is soldiers on the ground, definitely, because Israel wasn't ready for going to really war. Israel all the war from start from 1967. It was by the Air Force, just Air Force. They have a very good Air Force with all the new planes. But on the ground, as an Egyptian, we know they can't fight a long-term war. They haven't the power for this. If going for this, in this case, they need a soldier from United States and Europe, and that is why Germany minister and Macron tried to say to Sisi, we need to get a soldier from NATO or from Europe to help there, and he disagrees that. Why? That means really a very long war with all the support from the world. If all the world have troops on Gaza, so all don't care. They must done the job very good. There is no children will die. They are angels. They are not like what we say about the Israeli soldier. So if that happened, that's meaning another moving from the east border, which mean militias in Iraq and Syria, and start a new war. But I think that will not happen.
Okay, like Mohammed, Mohammed, sorry, Mohammed, خلي Wagner يحكي. Wagner, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I just wanted to ask this question, like in the space, just to get like maybe the different views or perspectives. But, put aside all the political or economic implications, of the situation now in the middle, not of the situation, of the aggression of the Zionist occupiers towards Palestine and that. Based on all your guys' knowledge in relation to the Islamic governments, how strong they are in their country, do they serve the Zionist entity, they do business with the Western world, etc., etc. They don't act in the interest of their own people, let alone the Palestinian people. Where do you guys see this whole, situation leading to? Do you see it becoming a wider war with various governments throughout the Arabic world being, overturned by their people who are just sick to death of them, kissing the Zionist ass and not helping the Arabic cause? Do you see a complete unification of the Islamic world in a united front, so like the Arabic world as well as Iran in this case? Maybe there's a few different points of view. I'd just like to hear what you guys think, and maybe even possibly, if you want to get down that field, how long do you think that this conflict goes on, considering the position of the Zionist power in the Western world and the governments they control? They could basically use up all the resources of the Western world, right, through their propaganda and control and power, and sacrifice all of that to maintain the existence of the state of Israel. So, you can take the answer any way you want from there, but I'd just like to sort of hear, your guys' viewpoint. Thanks.
Yeah, Wagner, I can give you some answers.
I think Asfahan can start to...
Okay, listen, Asfahan, go ahead and I'll go after.
No, I think you're Arab. You're an Arab, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
so
look,
you can give your
okay,
and I can give mine after.
okay, no worries. Okay, Wagner. So I'll give you some answers. Okay. So what's happening now in Gaza? We know the whole world is watching. None of the Arab countries are helping out, right? Nobody. Because Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Jordan, all of these countries, in a sense, they have business ties with Israel overall. Like Netanyahu, he said it, the Arab countries, you guys remain silent. So that means nobody's going to help from the Arab world at all, okay? So the rest of the answer is, Wagner, now we're going to deal with prophecies now. Because the prophecies tell you what's going to happen after and who gets involved, okay? So that being said, okay, you know who the NATO alliance are. The NATO alliance are made up of the countries that form a NATO. But now, look at Turkey. Turkey, for example, is a member of NATO. But Turkey is playing both sides. They're playing with NATO, and they have a secret alliance with Russia under the table. So for us as Muslims, right, our beliefs and our prophecies. So this Gaza war, when the whole world is watching, no countries are gonna help at all, okay? My opinion, that the war in Gaza, the IDF and Israel will not be able to defeat Hamas whatsoever. They can bring all their forces and do all they want. Hamas will defeat them eventually. But overall, what this will lead to, this conflict, it will lead fast forward to the actual World War III to take place later on. We don't know when. But before that happens, Wagner, there's going to be an alliance made. So even the Christians have this prophecy. The Christians believe in this. They believe in an Armageddon. And the Christians believe that there'll be an alliance with Russia, Turkey, or Iran as well to take on the NATO alliance. And this with the Muslim alliance with Russia, which is the rule today, the Romans, but we call them the rule in Arabic. There'll be an alliance with Muslims and the true Christian Orthodox people in the world. They'll form their alliance. They take on NATO in this upcoming battle called World War III, Armageddon. In Arabic, we call it the Malhama. So the next event in line, according to the prophecies, is the Great War.
So I see it a little differently. I see it as Wagner, as unfortunately the colonial divide and conquer mindset is still rampant in the region. We still see many of the Arab countries that have negative views towards Iran in terms of what they're doing. So that's why they cannot. I'm telling you, as an Iranian, if we were given the green light, if the Arabs came and said enough is enough, they would go and fight these guys and it would be done. But we haven't been given the green light. And to do anything, solo, it would burn. Even if they win, they won't win. I don't know if that makes sense. But even if they win, they won't win because then we will be turned upside down, the country. And at the end of the day, everybody needs to self-preserve themselves. So unfortunately, I don't see anybody really stepping in. And we're going to keep seeing the murders we're seeing.
Damien, go ahead.
I just wanted to add on to I guess what Wagner was saying back then. I agree. A lot of U.S. Congress, a lot of people in the financial reserve, in all of the major banks, biotech, all of the executives, they're all Zionists or dual citizen Israelites. You can go and actually check all of that out. And it's almost like a big money laundering scheme that goes on from sort of the American taxpayer, where they just keep printing sort of an endless supply of money, and that money is then used for to fund this military complex. Well, pretty much in everything, all these biotech initiatives, all the initiatives that go out, and it sort of just inflates these deep state oligarchs' assets, so they just become richer. They go from millionaire to billionaire to trillionaire, where I guess the normal average tax-paying person sort of just needs to work harder and harder and harder, need to battle inflation, need to work one job, two job, pay more tax, makes it more difficult to have more children or have a good quality of life. So these, and I completely agree, these Zionists or whatever, they're not religious. They don't care. All they really care about is making money. And in terms of this conflict, I think Saad is the only person I've actually heard. It's almost like it would have to be like a miracle, where almost like a Spartan battle, where this small militant group of 20 or 30,000 kids or whatever they are, fighting men, to actually win against this regime. But and I also agree.
Damien, sorry, Damien. But the thing is, if you watch the footage online, the IDF soldiers, right? There's many videos, and the IDF soldiers even said it, Damien. They said as if we're fighting ghosts, man. Even when they tried to enter north of Gaza, some of the soldiers, they couldn't walk anymore. So I mean, the whole world.
They're fucking cowards, man. Honestly, I'm a Christian, like I can't, like, when I see, like, they're just like such cowards. It's unbelievable, right? If you want to go, kill someone, go man to man. You don't go and kill children, babies, and stop food and oxygen and stuff. Like, and I don't know how the assholes can defend these other people in these other spaces, Israelites or these other white supremacists. I don't know, whatever the fuck people they are. They can justify it. You cannot justify this. You want to fight someone, you go fucking fight them man on man. What the?
I don't know, but Damien, but the IDF, they fight in the sky, they fight behind walls, but on the ground, I guarantee you, the IDF have lost way more soldiers than Hamas losing their fighters, 100%. But the media isn't going to show it. They won't show it. But overall, I bet you, and everybody knows, the whole world knows that the IDF have lost more soldiers than Hamas fighters.
This is exactly like This is exactly like the Vietnam War. Remember when America was losing against these guerrilla fighters? They never reported it. Americans thought we were winning, and then they come to find out, oh shit, we're actually losing. Just to touch base on something, I actually have a friend who works in intelligence, and I don't want to say too much. I've kind of known this, and it's been eating me up inside. So this current issue, this current onslaught of Gaza is actually fueled by exactly what we think it is. It's over resources. Now, this is twofold for the Israeli government. Of course, they want to ethnically cleanse Palestinians because we cause instability for the state of Israel. It makes them a volatile investment for anything in the future. So what happened? I don't know if anyone has noticed that Hamas was very staunch about the idea that nobody supported, nobody from Iran, nobody from the Hezbollah. Because, the U.S. is trying so hard to make that claim that, Iran was backing them or the Hezbollah was behind them. That they're always going for that argument. That wasn't true. And I can tell you that they were actually backed by the Far East, if you will. So this is kind of like a big geopolitical war at play. So someone said about the Great War between the East and the West. That's kind of what I see is playing out right now. It's like, I don't want to even call it this because I hate the guy who wrote the book, but it's almost like the clash of civilizations at this point. And this is really to counter
Dana. Sorry, Dana. You've heard of Albert Pike?
Who?
Have you ever heard of Albert Pike?
It sounds familiar. Give me a summary.
Okay, he was a 33-degree Mason, and he wrote a book, I think, called something, the Dogma, whatever it's called.
Dogma and Morals.
Yes. So Dana, this book right here, he outlined all 3 world wars. So look up Albert Pike and look at what he said of what's going to happen with all these wars. Okay.
Okay, definitely gonna look that up. I'm interested in that stuff. But this is also a counter to Russia, by the way, and in terms of their, they're trying to cut off Russia, right? The pipelines and all of that. They're trying to corner Russia, and it irks my soul because it's like you guys are just still practicing your imperialism, and you're trying to encroach on the East. This is exactly what it is. And when someone mentioned in a previous room about this, the geopolitical nature of Israel. Yes, it's in the middle. If you think of where it's placed, it's in the middle of the world. And if you ever looked up Israel's nuclear strategy, which is insane to me, I have mentioned this before about the Samson option. It's literally like a last resort type strategy, but it would take the entire world into a nuclear winter. And they're actually in that position where they can pull it off because they're in the middle of the world where they're positioned. So they said if they were going to go down, they're taking everyone down with them. They were trying to make the claim that we're not going to go down like we went down in the Holocaust. They want to take down, it's a threat, right? It's a last resort threat. If you're going to take us down, you're coming down with us.
So let me answer, Wagner, what you said, just in a simple words, and every God-fearing person on this space will agree that cruelty and injustice cannot rule forever. So I hope, inshallah, this time Gaza will be the graveyard of these Zionist IOF soldiers, inshallah.
Yes, you're right. And what does it say? In autumn, we will return with our punishment. the oppression, like you said, it's only hit a certain level, and then you'll see something happen big time. Because over 10,000 people died in Gaza. This is unheard of, man. That means something catastrophic is going to happen soon, man.
Yes, and it is enough of injustice and enough of cruelty that has gone through it. It will inshallah stop this time. Go ahead, back.
Thanks. I was just going to say one thing to Dana, just to bring up this point as well, in relation to how far these plans are and how far it goes back. For example, like in books that I've read from like a Russian and Slavic historians, which are totally opposite to what the CNN or BBC and British publishing houses allowed to be printed. In the 1890s, Theodore Herzl, or a representative of Theodore Herzl, went to the Russian Tsar seeking approval for the creation of a so-called Jewish state in Palestine. With Russia at that time being a Christian empire, the Tsar totally rejected that and said no, because his care was primarily for the Palestinian Christians, right, with the Russian Empire being a predominantly Christian country, but living in peace and harmony with its fellow Islamic citizens, and with the Muslim world in the Middle East. So when you fast forward a touch for say 20, 25 years, is it not interesting when you look at it? And for example, a lot of historians out there say that Karl Marx's real name was Mordecai Levy, and he was the son of a Jewish rabbi. But in 1917, right, when the Ottoman Empire was decreasing, or they called it the sick man of Europe, right? Then the question of who controls Palestine or who has more influence there, comes to the fore. But if the communist or Jewish Bolshevik takeover of Christian Russia, it happened in 1917 at the same time that the Balfour Declaration was signed or given to Lord Rothschild. So you can sort of see that the moment when Christian Russia was defeated and the Jewish Bolsheviks took over and they got rid of one enemy for their Zionist plans in the Middle East, on the other side in Western Europe, Britain, or whatever, Lord Balfour, signed over basically Palestine to the Zionist entity. And then from 1917, we have that 30-year period up until 1947, 48. But if you ask a so-called modern Jewish person, you say, hang on a sec, if World War II did not happen, right, and supposedly the Ashkenazi tribes were not persecuted by Hitler, then they never would have had enough numbers of people living in Palestine to be able to create their state. So when you ask the question in World War II, I would even bring the point that I would make the statement that Hitler was an agent of world Zionism, because they needed someone to start to persecute and threaten and instill fear in the Ashkenazi tribes of Europe, so that those people would march into Palestine, right? And then they could create their state from that. So, when you look at this whole thing, this is how complex and how far it goes back. So to me, when people... I'm not sure with the research and knowledge that you've had and you've done, would you agree with something like that or disagree? And how complex and how far back do you think this whole situation goes? And this question goes to everyone. This question goes to everyone in the space. Thanks, guys.
Wagner, I 100,000,000% agree. The problem is because most of humanity does not inherently think in those evil ways, and they can't imagine, doing that to their own people. Because we don't think that way, we cannot fathom or believe this story. Yet, unfortunately, it is 1,000,000% true, because how do you come up with the idea of a state of Israel in 1890 or whatever, and then magically 30, 40, 50 years later, you start seeing how things progress so quickly to, as you said, to get them there. So yes, these are all these, but but like I said, we just because we are normal human beings who don't think in evil ways, we can't, we can't see, or people can't believe that that's a possibility.
I totally 101% agree. And this is why, for example, in this space, we can actually talk and exchange information and points of view that we will not hear anywhere else. So credit to you and all the other co-hosts and all the people that give their input and provide their insight, because it only broadens our knowledge and gives us the strength and the power to continue to expose the falsehoods and to reveal the truth to many people who still have to awaken to what is going on to fully understand the situation in the Middle East. Thank you.
Yeah.
I echo say your name. Esfahan, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, okay. So actually, Wagner, I did want to pose a question. I mean, not to you necessarily. This could be to everyone. I recently spoke to, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the Notori Karta. They're like this fringe, they consider them fringe, but they're this group of Jews, Orthodox, that don't believe Israel should exist until the Messiah, marches them back to Israel. Like they're in exile until then. And I spoke to Rabbi Weiss, actually, and he told me that Israel will eventually fall because every Israeli empire prior to lasted only 80 years, and we're nearing that mark, if you've noticed. And lo and behold, like Israel's actually, we're seeing that kind of play out. Does anyone know anything about that or can answer to that?
Yes, so you're right about Israel eventually falling, right? We believe every 40 years, generations will change, okay? Look at 1927, look at 1947, when the Yehud came into Palestine, right? Zionist Jews. The first Intifada was 1987, okay? Now add 40 years, 2027. 2027 could be the year that Israel finally falls. At this rate, I see it happening at this rate.
I mean, yeah, that's what's crazy is like when I spoke to him and he said, we're nearing the 80-year mark, I'm like, holy crap, and look what's happening. There's also this guy Palestinians believe in. My cousins would always reference his name. He's like a Palestinian Nostradamus. And he actually predicted the fall of Israel would start. It's like a slow progression in 2022. No, Bassem Jadar. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes. Bassem Jadar. I watched that one. I watched the exact lecture about 2022. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. So it's crazy to me. And then I saw this other thing. I don't know if anyone has watched this. It's called The Arrival. Someone recently sent it to me. It's pretty much a conspiracy, but also backed by Islam. And it talks about, I think, Wagner, kind of what you mentioned. And they also predicted the year 2023, like you would see something start brewing in Israel, which we're seeing right now. I don't know. These conspiracies are actually playing out, which is tripping me out.
I'll quickly say something as well. It's interesting. Before this, I trade the US stock market, and I monitor macroeconomics and stuff like that. So putting aside all the religious stuff and even this conflict, things are going to be pretty bad for the USA, and Israel is heavily dependent on the USA. The USA's got $33 trillion in debt. I believe, this crazy spending that the government has done, which has been out of control, through COVID and through all these different stimulus packages and all of that for the purpose of just getting the Zionists richer as well, not for the benefit of normal people. It's gonna blow everything up, and it's funny you're giving all these time frames, but this whatever happens to Israel, it's gonna happen to USA as well, unfortunately.
So I'm not shifting topics, but I want people to think on this if you guys didn't notice it. I don't subscribe to the lie that there's only 15 million of them, but whatever, we'll go by their numbers. If that's true, and they say we only have 6 or 7 million in America, I don't know, something like that. There's 330 million people in America. Okay, so 6 million, 7 million, you know what? Even give them 10 million. It's still nothing to the population. Now, I don't know if you guys know this. Okay, I'll say it this way. They have vegan stuff, or if you're glucose this or glucose that, but they don't make everybody buy that stuff, right? There's a separate product for whatever allergy you have or you don't have or whatever you want to do. Yet everything you buy, I don't care if it's anything in your supermarket, from your orange juice to your detergent to whatever, go check your cabinets right now. You're going to see a U with a circle around it. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah, does that mean it's kosher or it's approved by their rabbis? Something along those lines?
That's exactly what it is. Now, why the hell would I need to pay for my detergent to be kosher? Yet all your items, go check them out right now tonight. Go check, open up your closet. Every item that you purchase will have a U and a circle around it. Now imagine we're talking about billions and billions of products being sold every day, every month, every year, and all those products have that thing, and that's not free. We are all chipping in to pay so that supposedly 6 million people will purchase their products. Now, it's not about the 6 million people. It's more than that, right? If you think about it, this is how they funnel money out to these guys. It's not just what they send through the Senate. And this is not a conspiracy theory. You can Google it right now. Ask what the U and the circle thing means. But then if you want to think small, you know, if you're not going to think big and you're going to think small, then I say, why would you need on every product for only 6 million people? Why would you need to cater to that, to that little small group? You know, it doesn't make any sense unless you're forcing everybody to pay, and which then in turn funnels money into their agendas, into their state.
A kosher detergent, really?
Everything. Go open up your cabinet. Everything you buy has a U and a circle around it.
No, you're right. I have noticed that. You're right.
Now you got me looking at all my products. They do.
Can I ask that? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sven.
Yeah, I was gonna say, open up your refrigerator. Go to your, whatever linen closet. Open all that stuff up. Everything you have has that label on it. Go ahead, Damien.
I was just gonna say as well, like the other things I know you guys know about wokeism and all these woke sort of policies. It's interesting, like even any money that you put into your superannuation or your retirement funds, all of that is sort of funneled into these agendas as well, I guess. Because I don't know, you guys have noticed sort of this degradation almost in society where they don't want people to get married or have kids or have good family values. They want to like getting kids to question their gender and all of these things as well. Like, do you think this is part of the same Zionist regime agenda as well?
Well, Damien, I would say this to you, right? The opposite of God is absolute evil. So everything that God teaches, right? God's opponent, or like it was written in the book The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. He wrote in the book, he goes, God and the devil are constantly at war, and the battlefield is the heart of man / woman, right? So we're not sexist. Man, woman, same thing, right? It's all God's creation, right? So for example, for them to bring about these so-called Zionists, to bring about a new world order, they have to bring the world into a state, right, that is the total opposite of God's teachings. So you're against marriage. You have to push an agenda that's against marriage. You have to push an agenda that's against the creation of new life. You've got to push abortion, transgenderism, gay marriage. So everything that any religion stands for, as in like eternal values, morals, etc., etc., it has to be flipped upside down, right? If they're going to create basically what is a satanic new world order. And this would lead in line to these so-called Zionists, these so-called fake Jews, and this is my opinion. If their Mashiach or their Messiah is going to appear, he has to appear, and he can only appear when the world is in a state when it is ready to accept him. And the world cannot be godly, it cannot be humble, it cannot be great values by people, because he can't exist in that type of environment. It has to be everything upside down. And this is why we get the alphabet soup, LGBTQ, whatever it's called, and which other letter is going to be added in the future. So everything that is against the teachings of God has to be promoted. That is what we are seeing in the world, is it not? And if it is like that, and you agree, in the next 5 years, especially how they're trying to corrupt children, that children can change their sex, etc., etc., these people have openly declared war against God. So if they've openly declared war against God, that means that nothing is on the table as they attempt to push or install the utmost, worst depths of depravity within society, within education. We already see it in television, TV series, etc., etc. Now, people may accept or reject that, but if you look at which way the winds are blowing and which way it's going, it very much seems like that, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree as well. Like, the other thing is, our young people as well, through all social media.
You're going to be Damien. You're going to be an anti-Semite if you keep agreeing with what Wagner says.
And actually, I forgot to mention that as well. Like, the stuff that we're talking about, we'll get heavily censored for. You cannot say this on any other space. You're going to say this to a select number of people. They'll literally like you, say you're an anti-Semite, take your career away from you, and like ruin you. Like that's how bad the stuff that we're saying is. I mean, according to, I guess, the other side. But the other thing I want to bring up is all young people through the use of Instagram and TikTok, all the social media. Like young people, anyone that's 18 and younger now, have such short attention spans. They don't want to read long books, research history. Don't want to listen to long form podcasts and these sorts of things, which is really sad. And then they're weak as well. So weak, they can't fight. Which is, it's bad. So lots of bad things are happening all at once. And financial market in society, and this and through the legal system as well. Like our rights are being taken away. It's not good.
Well, exactly. Like there was this. I'm not sure if you ever heard of the quote. It's attributed to David Rockefeller, and one of his more famous quotes were, once the Rockefeller Foundation got involved in education, was, "I do not need a population of thinkers. I need a population of workers, just smart enough to run the machines and keep everything running, but never to question, to investigate, to see what is really going on." And, when you look at the education system over more recent time, in decades, it has been basically throughout the Western world predominantly, it has been dumbed down, right, to get more people qualified, but you've never come across more dense or stupid people than or just people that, everything will be okay, everything will be fine. But in the Western world, no one ever questions anything. And if you do, if you're out in the public space or talking with someone, they look at you, and when you start talking to them, you think, I better shut up, because if I start talking, they're going to report me to the Secret Service and say that I'm an enemy of the state.
Well, there was 2 people who came in here that creeped me out, so I kicked them out of the room. Right now, I don't know if you guys noticed, there was like these weird accounts on the bottom, and I kicked them out.
Yeah, they're almost like recording it, Isfahan.
Yeah, that's why I don't record my space. I didn't record the space. I wanted it to go this way. I wanted us to be able to speak openly, and I hope we can do it again. I do want us to do that homework, just so you guys don't think I'm crazy. To go, whoever's in America should go check every product in their refrigerator and see that. I just did a quick study. While you guys were talking, there is close to 10 million vegans in the United States. So why, for a population of vegans, which is more than what they claim the Jews are in America, why isn't there like a V on everything that we buy? Yet there's a U with a circle for everything you buy. Even if you go to Ace Hardware and Home Depot, all their products I'm not tripping here. Go check it out, and then we can discuss this again.
So what is it? The rabbi goes to the factory and blesses the product?
Obviously they're not doing that, right? It's scamming money. You see, and it's. I mean, just imagine all those products have that darn stamp on it, right? So all of those cost money. Even just making this little stamp makes money, right? It's an extra cost burden to you and I. You know, it's something that is not necessary, yet it's there, and we're paying for it for really just for 6 million. I mean, like I said, you got to think broader. You got to think bigger than this, and it's not about being cheap. I'm not, it's not like I'm trying to be like insensitive and saying, why am I? No, the money's going for something nefarious. It's obvious. I mean, why would it not? Why would it be there then if it wasn't?
Look, I'll say it again, all right? Like, we pay tax. We go to work. We pay tax. You need to pay super, right, for your retirement as well. All of that is being gambled with by these guys for them to become richer. It's not really, nothing is being, like, that's why we have, you've got homeless, you've got, people join the military and going and, fighting for them, killing for them, so that they make money, and they come back, and then they go and they're just homeless back here. Like, it's insane. Like, you'd say we're in democratic countries. Is it a real democracy? Because the lobbies, the lobbies, in the end, you vote for them thinking that they're doing something for you, but in the end, they just work for the lobbies. And then they go and get, they start off, they all become millionaires. You can actually go look at all of your politicians everywhere. They all do things so that they become richer. It's like reinforcement learning. It's like reinforcement learning algorithms in machine learning. It's like your agent does things to get a positive reward. So they just do things they do things that are going to reward them, not for the good of the people.
Same here, state of Arizona. There are a ton of homeless veterans who are out on the street. You see them all the time.
But anyway, guys, let's do this again. Let's do that homework and come back together, hopefully sooner than later. And I'm going to go quickly just to say hi in Benjamin's space, just to see what's going on real fast, and call it a night.
All right. And like Esfahan, just before you go, just so we finish on a positive note, either you or Humantis or Damien, whatever, just so we finish the space on a positive note, can one of you or each of you give me a good joke and give us all a good joke that we can finish the space off with a laugh?
Dana will start. I have no idea.
I can't say it, because kids die every single day, man. I don't like it. Like, and only because Elon Musk bought Twitter can I see it. If he didn't even buy this, we wouldn't know. That's how sad this place is. I mean, can you believe it?
Wagner, you've been the star tonight. Why don't you give us a joke before we go?
I'll give this joke, but I hope no one gets offended by it, right? In relation to it's sort of like immigration, migration, etc., etc. The joke goes, "What's a black and eats chips?"
I don't know.
Isfahan, why did you kick out?
Wait for the answer.
Adam and Eve, Isfahan?
What?
Wait. Anyway, Esfahan, that was the question. So the person was joking, "What's a black and eats chips?"
They are my
And,
friends, Isfahan.
Tasmanian devil.
Isfahan.
No. The answer is 52% of London. So always say that joke to an Englishman to piss them off about how their country is disappearing.
Mohammed, what happened?
No.
Mohammed, what happened? Mohammed, what happened? What happened?
Adam and Eve, they are my friends.
Which ones were your friends? There were two that didn't have any like information in their account,
Yeah,
so I
fake
got scared.
account. Do you mind?
Oh, you should tell me because we were talking about sensitive stuff. You should have told me that they're your friends. I got scared.
I saw
Did you like
that.
that joke, Dana? Was that joke all right? 52% of London?
Did anyone hear the joke though? That's not
I'm a
so-
software developer, so I have a many accounts. I'm sorry.
No. Next time tell me. Yeah, and then I didn't know. It just looked so fake. I got freaked out.
All right. Thanks for the space, guys. Anyway, so have a pleasant night and a good night's sleep and a rewarding, productive, and enjoyable day tomorrow.
Esfahan, what time
Thank you,
tomorrow?
Wagner. You too.
Let everybody follow each other. Everybody follow each other. You don't have to follow me, but follow each other. So then, yeah, we'll definitely message each other and hopefully speak tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you, Dana.